Your thoughts and feelings about yourself and what you can do or not do are the sum total result of a lifetime of experience and conditioning, and usually have little relationship to what is truly possible for you. In personal development, there is a principle or a law of becoming that simply says that each person is in a continual process of becoming or evolving and growing in the direction of his or her dominant thoughts. Your body is also in a state of becoming at a normal rate of cell death and replenishment. You have a brand new body every 7 years. But whereas your physical evolution in becoming is affected by the food that you put into your body, your mental evolution and becoming are largely determined by the thoughts that you put into your mind. The law of concentration says that anything you dwell upon grows in your reality. Anything that you think about long enough and hard enough eventually becomes a part of your mental processes, exerting its influence and power on your attitude and your behavior. If you constantly think thoughts of boldness and courage and self-assertion, you become progressively bolder and more courageous and more self-assertive the more you dwell on the person you would like to be with the qualities that you would like to have. The more you implant those deep into your subconscious mind where they become part of your ongoing evolution. What you habitually think about eventually becomes a part of your character and your personality. In this sense, you are a self-made man or woman. You are where you are and what you are because of the thoughts that you have allowed to preoccupy your mind. Whatever you have dwelled upon over the past months and years, you have become, and you are right now today the result of all those thoughts. Not only have you made yourself into the person you are today, but you're continuing with the job of construction with every thought you think. Since this is an unavoidable fact of life, the smartest thing that you can do is persistently think the thoughts that are consistent with the kind of person you would like to be. However, for most people, thinking the thoughts that they would like to think about to become the person they would like to be is too big a leap. Most people continue to think about and talk about exactly what they don't want to happen, and then they are constantly amazed that exactly what they were hoping to avoid happens to them again and again. One of the most profound discoveries in all of human history is that thought is creative. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, like begets like. Your thoughts become your realities. You do become what you think about most of the time. You cannot harbor one kind of thought and experience a different kind of existence. This law of cause and effect works perfectly everywhere and always for everyone. The development of unshakable self-confidence, therefore, begins with you taking full, complete, systematic, and purposeful control over the contents of your conscious mind. Disciplining yourself to think consistently about only the things that you desire and to resolutely keep your mind off of the things that you fear. All of life is from the inside out. It is from the inner to the outer. The law of correspondence, perhaps one of the most important of all the mental laws, says that your outer world will be a reflection of your inner world. What you see on the outside is largely a reflection of what is going on inside of you. This is not only true for you, it is true for everyone around you. Many times we see people who seem to be very nice and pleasant on the outside, but who seem to have continuous problems in their personal and business lives. We wonder how these unhappy things happen to such nice people. The unavoidable fact is that, with few exceptions, most of what a person experiences in his or her outer life corresponds exactly to something that is going on in their inner life, something which you seldom know, and it cannot be otherwise. True happiness and success come from living your life in harmony with the laws that govern your being. Yeah, even though these laws are invisible, they are like the law of gravity, which is also invisible, but is to be violated only at your own peril. Happy people are those who obey and follow the laws of nature and live their lives consistent with those laws. If you want to enjoy self-confidence on the outside, you must practice complete integrity on the inside. The foundation of self-confidence is for you to live your life consistent with your innermost values and principles while thinking and acting in harmony with your highest aspirations. Men and women with the most rock-solid self-confidence are those who are absolutely clear about what it is they believe to be right and good and worthwhile, and who live their lives consistent with these values. Everything they do or say is an expression of their innermost convictions. Your whole world can fall down around you, but As long as you know that you are doing the right thing, you will have a deep inner sense of calm that will manifest itself in an attitude of confidence and self-assurance in any situation. You'll have many ups and downs in life, but what is most important is that you remain true to yourself. And then, as Shakespeare said, thou canst not then be false to any man. The starting point of developing high levels of self-confidence and becoming a superior human being is for you to think through and decide upon your values. Superior men and women are those who have taken the time to decide clearly what it is they believe in and in what order, and they have then organized their lives so that everything that they do reflects those values. Recently, I addressed about 150 members of the national sales force of a very successful company. This company had started from an idea and had grown very rapidly in an extremely competitive market, and the company was very profitable. All the people at the meeting were remarkably positive and upbeat and had a special quality of goodness about them. When I commented on this, the president of the company showed me the value statement that the executives of the company had worked out before they had begun operations. There were 2 pages of values and principles which were given to everyone in the company. These 2 pages have been subsequently reduced onto plasticized cards that each person could carry in their wallet or purse. The president told me an interesting story. He said that whenever 2 or more people in the company were wrestling with a decision of any kind, even over the telephone, they would pull out their plasticized cards describing the corporate values. They would then review the values together, one by one, and compare the various options available to them with each value. Whatever decision they finally made would always stand the values test without question. In a recent study covering 25 years of business history, the researchers found that the companies that had very clear written values to which everyone in the company ascribed had earned an average of 700% greater profit over the 25 years than other companies in the same industries that did not have written codes of values. As within, so without. Whenever I conduct a strategic planning exercise for a corporation, the executives of the corporation always select integrity as their highest value and most important organizing principle for the entire corporation. In my experience, almost every corporation will select the value of integrity as one of their foremost organizing principles. Now, the word integrity, according to the dictionary, means perfect, undivided, complete, unified, a single whole without blemish or fault. It's a fine value to choose. This is a good choice. But in reality, integrity is more than a value. It is the one value of mind that assures or guarantees all the other values that you select. The economic and personal results of individuals and corporations with clear values always tend to be far superior to those of companies and individuals whose values are vague or unclear. Your starting point toward higher self-confidence and personal greatness is to, first of all, clarify your values for yourself. It is for you to decide for yourself the values that you believe in. What do you stand for? And even more, what will you not stand for? What values do you espouse that you are willing to sacrifice for? What values would you pay for or sweat for? Or maybe even die for? Do you value your family, your God, your health, your work, or career? Do you value principles such as freedom, liberty, compassion for the less fortunate, or reverence for life? Do you believe in honesty, truth, sincerity, hard work, and success? Whatever your values are, think them through and write them down. A useful exercise is for you to think of the men and women, living and dead, whom you most admire. What qualities or attributes of these people do you consider the most important? If you could be like any one of these people, which of their qualities would you most want to emulate when you look around you at the people you admire? What qualities of these people do you consider to be the most important? What qualities do you look for in your friends and associates when you're trying to decide whether or not to become deeply involved with them? What do you think are the fundamental qualities or values that underlie business and personal relationships? What are your values? When you select a value, if it's to be one of your values at all, it becomes invaluable. Either it is a fixed value and you live every part of your life consistent with it, or it is not one of your values. You cannot have a value when it is convenient and put it aside where it is not convenient. You cannot have a little bit of integrity. It must be all or nothing. The act of selecting your values is also the act of clearly stating to yourself and sometimes to others exactly how you will live your life from this moment forward. Once you have selected a value and you have declared it to be one of your unifying principles, you are in effect saying that this is something upon which you will never compromise. And your level of adherence to the values that you have personally selected is the real measure of your character, your true quality as a human being. Unshakable self-confidence comes from unshakable commitment to your values. When deep down inside yourself you know that you will never violate your highest principles, you experience a deep sense of personal power that enables you to deal openly and honestly and with complete self-confidence in almost every human situation. If you're having any difficulty in clarifying your values, a very helpful exercise is to take some time to write out your own obituary or eulogy. Imagine that everyone you know and care about is gathered at your funeral to pay their last respects. The minister reads your eulogy to this assembly of people, and in it, he describes the person you became over the course of your lifetime. He describes not only what you accomplished and what you contributed to the lives of others, but he reads out the virtues, values, and qualities that you were known for by the people around you. This obituary can become your vision of the kind of person you wish to be and the kind of values that you wish to live by. No one is perfect, and we all have a long way to go in living our lives consistent with our highest values. But the very exercise of writing out your obituary will exert a powerful influence on everything that you do thereafter, both consciously and unconsciously. You will be drawn toward living and acting more and more like the person you describe in that final testament. Once you've decided upon your values, your work is not over. Now you have to organize your values by priority. You have to decide which value is more important and which value is less important. If you wrote out each of your values on small squares of paper and then you had to throw away all the squares but one, which one would you keep? This then becomes your foremost value, the one that takes precedence over all the others, which would be your second most important value, your third, your fourth, and so on. Your order of priority is extremely important in determining the kind of person you are and the kind of life you live. Many people organize their values with number 1 being God, number 2 being their family, number 3 being their health, number 4 being their career, and perhaps number 5 being success. A person with this order of values is saying that when push comes to shove, I will always favor the higher order value over the lower order value. If your family comes before your health or your work, you would always sacrifice your health or your work for the well-being of your family. If your order of values was changed and your work or financial success came before your health, you would be saying that you would sacrifice your health if that was necessary to get ahead in your career. I've known businessmen who put career success ahead of their families in their order of priority. When they had to choose one or the other, they regularly chose their work over spending time with their spouse and children. And as a result, both the marriages and the careers have run into serious trouble. Selecting your values and then putting them in order of importance actually creates a mental and emotional structure that enables you to make better decisions and choices in every area of your life. The principle of integrity, or adherence to your values, seems to be a law of the universe. Whenever you violate or compromise your integrity for anything, there seems to be a great power or force of retribution that will not allow you to get away with it. Integrity seems to be an absolute requirement for successful human living. Failing in integrity or compromising your values not only seems to bring about a punishment that fits the crime, whether it's in business, politics, or personal life, but it seems to create a high level of stress, unhappiness, and inner turmoil in the life of the individual. This need for absolute integrity seems to require that you live in truth with all people and under all circumstances. Living in truth means that you never live a lie. It means that you never compromise your integrity for the sake of a job, money, or a relationship. It means that you always do and say what you know to be right and true, no matter what the short-term cost or benefit. Living in truth means that you do not pretend or practice self-delusion. You face life your relationships and your circumstances exactly as they are, not as you wish they would be. Living in truth means that you never stay in a situation that makes you unhappy or which you feel, for any reason, is wrong for you. Living in truth means that you set peace of mind as your highest goal, and as your core organizing principle, you select all your other goals to be consistent with it. You'll never compromise your peace of mind for anyone or anything else you do, and say only those things that feel perfectly right for you. You accept your own thoughts and feelings completely, whatever they are, and you systematically change each part of your life that is not giving you peace of mind. Only in this way can you enjoy the high levels of self-confidence that are experienced by the superior individual. Only by insisting that everything you do allows you to live in peace with yourself can you feel really terrific about yourself and get along wonderfully in all your relationships. Living consistent with your values is the key to happiness, harmony, well-being, and high levels of self-confidence. And this brings us to the final point in this chapter, perhaps the most important point of all. Your true values are only expressed in your actions, in what you do. You can tell what you truly believe by observing what you do in any situation where you have to make a choice. Especially when you are under stress and pulled in two directions at once with opposing demands or responsibilities, this is when your true values are revealed. The action that you take in any given situation will tell you which of your values is uppermost or whether you have any values at all. It is not what you say or hope or wish or intend, but only what you do that counts. Your choices of the actions you take tell you unerringly who you really are. In fact, you can tell what your values have been in the past by looking back and observing what you did under stress, when you had an important choice to make. Did you listen to the better angels of your nature, or did you compromise for a short-term advantage? A person who says that his or her family comes first and then has to choose between working late and going to a child's school, play, or sports activity, and who chooses the child's needs over the boss's requirements, is a person who is living consistent with his or her highest values. Everyone has had the experience of walking away from a job or a relationship, even though considerable sacrifice was involved, because it was the right, though painful thing to do. And you probably remember how great you felt as a result. Whenever you act consistently with a higher value, you always feel terrific about yourself, and your self-confidence soars. But whenever you compromise your values for any reason, you feel uncomfortable, inferior, guilty, and your self-confidence plummets. The fact that your true values are only expressed in your actions brings us to a little-known mental principle called the law of reversibility. This law says that just as thoughts and feelings lead to actions consistent with them, the principle is reversible, and actions consistent with particular values or beliefs actually lead to the thoughts and feelings that would have triggered the actions. What this means is that even if you start off lacking a particular quality, if you deliberately act as if you already have the quality, you will eventually create within yourself the mental quality that corresponds to the action. Dr. William James of Harvard put it this way: action seems to follow feelings, but really action and feelings go together. And by regulating the action, which is under the more direct control of the will, we can indirectly regulate the feeling, which is not. You can develop within yourself a superb set of values by acting as though you already had those values. You can develop integrity and courage and compassion and confidence by behaving as though you already had these qualities. And the more you act apart, especially when you demonstrate these qualities under stress or when you feel like doing or saying something else, the more rapidly these qualities become a permanent part of your mental makeup. The keys to developing the unshakable self-confidence that will make everything else possible for you are self-control, self-mastery, and self-discipline. Self-confidence can come directly by behaving in a self-confident manner, but it comes more often indirectly by doing and saying the things and practicing the behaviors that lead to self-confidence. And the most important self-development behavior is living consistently with your highest values at every opportunity. In weightlifting, muscles are developed by repetitive lifting of heavy weights. The heavier the weight and the greater the resistance, the more blood rushes into the capillaries and the bigger the muscle becomes. In mental development, there's a principle of resistance as well. In developing mental muscles, especially the mental muscle or quality of self-confidence, you can use this principle to accelerate your own development. Whenever you exert self-mastery and discipline yourself to do or say the right thing, especially under stress, you create resistance to your natural tendencies. This resistance generates friction. This is the same kind of friction or heat that, when applied to a crucible containing chemicals, will cause the chemicals to crystallize and take on a new form. When you create mental friction by resisting your natural tendencies and instead doing what you know is right and true and consistent with your highest values, especially in a difficult situation, the mental heat causes your values to crystallize at a higher level and eventually become a permanent part of your character. Each human quality is subject to this same formulation. Once you have persisted through great adversity, you're always capable of persisting through lesser difficulties. Once you have acted courageously in a major confrontation, you are always able to act courageously in the face of lesser confrontations. When you behave honestly when there are large amounts at stake, you are always able later on to behave honestly when you're dealing with lesser amounts. The foundation of self-confidence, the basis of boldness and self-assertion, is a deep inner trust based on living a life of perfect integrity and then disciplining yourself to live consistent with your highest values in every situation. Each time you do this, you will feel positive and happy and wonderful about yourself. Your behaviors will further crystallize in your personality and become a more permanent part of the exceptional human being that you are in the process of becoming. I found in my research is that there's a series of qualities that self-made millionaires. If you have these qualities, your success is virtually guaranteed. And if you don't have these qualities, the qualities are learnable. Point number one is that all business or sales skills are learnable. All financial skills are learnable. If you can drive a car, you can learn any skill. You can drive a car and you can learn this skill. And number two is you're probably only one skill away from doubling your income right now. You're probably only one skill away from betting yourself on the road to becoming a self-made millionaire. It turns out to be the key for almost everyone. And if you don't know what that skill is, maybe over the course of the time we spend together, it will jump out at you. So wherever it is, you've got to find it out and you've got to work on it because it is learnable. Learnable skill. People say, well, I never did very good with money. Well, get over it. Fact of the matter is, you can learn what you need to learn to achieve anything. One of my seminar participants told me this. He said, money is like food. When you have enough of it, you don't think about it at all. But when you are deprived of it for any period of time, you think of nothing else. More people are achieving financial independence and becoming self-made millionaires today at a faster rate than ever before. The great majority of self-made millionaires and even self-made billionaires are first-generation success stories. This means they started their working lives with little or nothing, and they earned it all from the first dollar. The fact that so many hundreds of thousands and millions of other people have gone from rags to riches in a single generation is ample proof that you can do it as well. You only need to learn how. It's really quite a simple thing to become a self-made millionaire. If you simply save $100 per month, year in and year out, from the age of 20 to the age of 65, and you invested that money in a well-managed mutual fund, invested in the American stock market, you would earn an average of 10.8% per annum on your investment. At that rate, $100 per month would be worth more than $1,200,000 when you retire. The most successful people in every society are those with a long time perspective. They develop a long time horizon. They think and plan 10, 20, and even 40 years into the future. They then organize their daily and weekly activities in such a way that everything they do is consistent with the long-term goals they want to achieve. This is especially true with regard to achieving financial independence. You and everyone else has a series of goals, either clear or fuzzy. Each of these goals is organized in a hierarchy. Each of your goals is ranked, consciously or unconsciously, from your most important to your least important. The reason that people do not achieve financial independence is because, although it is a goal, it is not a primary goal. It is merely one of many goals that they think about from time to time. When it comes time to act or spend, their other goals for immediate pleasure and gratification, for example, take precedence. It's only when you take the goal of financial independence and move it right up to the top of your hierarchy of values that you begin to get your financial life under control. Remember the great principle. You become what you think about most of the time. In thousands of interviews, researchers have discovered that self-made millionaires in the area of money think about financial independence most of the time. They organize their entire lives around saving and accumulating. They think continually about how they can earn or acquire more and better invest and deploy their savings. The fact is, you are not going to win the lottery. Unfortunately, there is no distant relative who's going to die and leave you a lot of money. You are not going to discover gold or make a lucky hit in the stock market. The only way that you are going to achieve financial independence is with long-time perspective, by saving and investing your money month after month and year after year until you have enough that you never have to worry about money again. For most people, money means freedom, one of the highest of all human values. It means the ability to be and do what you want and to buy the things you need without worrying about the cost. Freedom is a powerful, driving force that has determined the course of human history. Is freedom one of your values? For many people, some of the values associated with money are security, independence, success, status, adventure, and even love, especially the love and respect of others. So, what are your personal values with regard to money? Here's an important point. If you have negative values with regard to money, these values can sabotage you throughout your entire life. One of the smartest things that you can do for the rest of your life is to admire, respect, and look up to people who have achieved financial success. This is because you always move in the direction of that which you most admire and respect. The more you admire and respect financial success, the more likely you are to do the same things that financially successful people do. Eventually, you'll become the kind of person who achieves financial success yourself. Imagine that your financial life was perfect in every respect. Create a clear mental picture of your distant financial future as if your every financial dream had been realized. What does it look like? How much would you like to be worth when you retire or stop working? What kind of a lifestyle would you like to have at that time? How much will you have to save and invest every month, every year to reach your long-term financial goals? These are questions that most people seldom ask or answer. Imagine that you have no limitations on your long-term ability to achieve financial independence. Imagine that you have all the time and all the resources that you require. Imagine that you have all the knowledge and all the experience you need. Imagine that you have all the contacts and all the opportunities you could ask for. If you could design your financial life to be perfect in every way with no limitations, what would it look like? Imagine that you have finally achieved a net worth of $10 million. What would you do? How would you change your life if you were completely independent financially? Make up a dream list of every single thing you would want in your life, tangible and intangible, if you have all the money you would ever need. The greater clarity you have regarding your long-term financial future, the faster you will attract people and resources that you will need to achieve it into your life, and the more rapidly you will realize your vision. In general, you should have 4 financial goals. First, you want to earn as much as you can. Second, you want to spend as little as you can. Third, you want to save and invest as much as possible. And fourth, you want to protect yourself against unexpected reversals and losses. The achievement of each of these goals is very much under your control. Perhaps the best measure you can use, if financial independence is your goal, is to determine how much money you will need each month, each year to live comfortably, and then calculate how long you could sustain your current lifestyle on your current savings. This number is called your run rate or your burn rate. This is a calculation of how long you can survive with what you have accumulated up to now. This is the best measure of your overall financial health. This is a great focal point. Set clear financial goals and targets for each part of your financial life, both for the short term and for the long term. Examine every expenditure in your life and look for ways to reduce your monthly living costs. Set a goal to cut your expenses by 10% or 20% over the next 90 days. Make cost control and cost cutting a regular part of your life, no matter how much you earn. Since you become what you think about most of the time, the more time you spend thinking about your money, better you will become in terms of managing it. The first knowledge that you will require to achieve financial independence is the knowledge of exactly how much you are earning today, how much you are spending each month, and how much you are worth. Right now, you should keep a list of every dollar you spend and analyze your list regularly. The more attention you pay to your day-to-day spending, the smarter and more aware you will become regarding the amount of money flowing through your fingers. Here's a rule that will virtually guarantee that you become wealthy over the course of your working lifetime. Save and invest 50% of any increase that you earn in your salary or compensation for the rest of your career. You can still spend the other 50% of the increase on improving your standard of living, but resolve today to save half of every increase for the rest of your career. This discipline alone will assure that you achieve financial independence, and probably several years before you expect to. Apply the 80-20 rule to your job every day. Identify the 20% of your tasks that account for 80% of the value of everything you do. Resolve to focus more and more of your attention on becoming better and better at those few activities that are worth more than all the rest. There are certain habits and behaviors that lead inevitably to financial success. The first and most important habit is for you to pay yourself first. As George Clason wrote in his classic book, The Richest Man in Babylon, a part of all you earn is yours to keep. Pay yourself first, off the top. Your goal is to eventually save 10% to 20% of your income throughout your life. Your aim should be to put this amount away regularly, to invest it with experts, and to let it grow over time. If you cannot afford to save 10% of your income, begin by saving 1% of your income. Begin saving and investing even before you pay off your debts. Begin putting money away before you pay down the amounts that you owe. This is very important. By developing the habit of saving a certain percentage of what you earn off the top of every single paycheck, you will eventually change your entire attitude towards yourself and money. The most important habit you can develop to achieve financial independence is the habit of frugality. Carefully consider every expense before you make it. If possible, delay a large purchase for a day, a week, a month, or even longer. Take that time to think about it before you commit. Perhaps the most helpful habit of all is for you to learn to enjoy the very act of saving and investing. When you begin to look forward to every opportunity to put money away, you change your entire attitude toward money and investment. You begin to get tremendous pleasure and satisfaction from seeing your savings and investments grow over time. There are 4 activities that you should engage in every single day to guarantee that you achieve financial independence. The first is to carefully evaluate every expenditure